Okay everybody, Tectalar here again with the 13th episode of the Heroes Appendix video series. Its purpose is to help newer and veteran players alike to fully understand the ins and outs of all the characters in Hero Wars Mobile. In today's video, we are reviewing the second place winner of the most recent vote amongst my patrons, and probably one of the more feared supports that an opponent could have, mostly because people don't quite understand her mechanics beyond the fact that she can charm an enemy who damages her. People who don't use Lian can't quite convince themselves to build her, and people who do use Lian often find themselves questioning how they ever built teams without her. Today, we'll discuss why Lian is one of the most dreaded units to see in a defense team, and why she can single-handedly pave the way to victory in many situations. In today's video, we are going to be discussing her skills, how they visually appear, and their uses both practically and strategically, when to use Lian, when not to use her roles in the team, skin priority order, artifact priority order, and glyph priority order. First up is Lian's activatable skill, Enchantment, which is commonly referred to as her ultimate because this is the ability she can use once her yellow energy gauge is filled during battle. Lian will grow in size and frolic into the air and blow a kiss with a colored heart towards the enemy team. This skill will put the entire enemy team to sleep for 7 seconds, which prevents them from taking any action during this time. The sleep effect will be broken if your hero receives damage from anybody except Lian herself. The only way to prevent this skill from afflicting your heroes is if they currently have Celeste's Purifying Sphere on them, which blocks all negative effects. This effect is symbolized by numerous tiny hearts rising above the affected opponent's head. Because of the mechanics of this ability, Lian works much better in teams that deal single target damage, so as to prevent breaking the charm once it's in place. Being in a 7-second stasis is much more detrimental than it sounds. Lian's second skill is called Hypnotic Ball. A glowing ball will form in front of Lian's chest and she will let out a yell and push it towards the enemy team, and hovering on the nearest enemies and hitting them as a group, meaning it will deal damage to all frontline enemy heroes, and if there's only 2 frontline heroes, it will also strike the first middle line hero. This skill deals pure damage, meaning it ignores all armor and magic defense, and will always do the listed damage unless it triggers Krista's Ice Block. This skill has a reasonably high magic attack ratio at 50%, considering this is the value per enemy struck, and it will likely hit 2 to 3 enemies depending on the team makeup, but it's possible that it could hit more. As a result, boost to Lian's magic attack can make this skill particularly potent. A note with this skill is that while the damage ignores defenses, it is dealt over the course of 5 hits, so for each target they will take 5 hits in rapid succession, for the value of this skill divided by 5. An interesting note is this skill can miss if the target is popped into the air. This skill can be used once every 14.5 seconds. Lian's third skill is called Wandering Lights. Lian will summon 5 lights that gather above her head and strike the enemy nearest to her. The damage ratio for this skill is 30% magic attack, but this is the damage per light. So in actuality, the damage for this skill is 150% magic attack when you combine all of the hits. This skill can activate once every 18 seconds. Lian's passive skill is called Conciliation, which affects any enemy on the battlefield who deals damage to Lian. When an enemy unit deals damage to her, they will be charmed for 4 seconds, which renders them completely unable to take any action for the duration. This effect will break if the enemy receives damage from any source other than Lian herself. It is symbolized by a heart with a deeply saturated circle around it. A note is the application of this skill can only be prevented if the hero damaging Lian is under the effects of Celeste's Purifying Sphere, which cancels out negative effects. Another note is skills like Rufus's, Marcus's, and Astaroth's first skill, which block either magical, physical, or all damage respectively, can prevent Lian's passive from triggering if she does not receive damage as a result of these skills. In some instances, this can prevent Cleaver from pulling Lian to the front if he is charmed before he pulls her. Let's take a deeper look now and see when you should be using Lian. The enemy team is using a hero who consistently deals AoE, which is area of effect damage, and will strike Lian often. She can be a powerful tool to slow down the advances of the enemy team and enable your healers to keep up or your damage dealers to overtake your opponents. Another time is with one or more magic attack artifact weapons. Since Lian has very high damage ratios on her skills, she benefits from boosts to her magic attack pretty significantly, and can turn her from more of a support unit into a devastating damage dealer. Another time to consider is if you are using a lot of units who deal single target damage. These can include Elmir, Ishmael, Celeste, Ashton Lucas, Sebastian, Fox, Phobos, Peppy, etc. There's more to name, but that's a majority of the list. Because this will ensure that when Lian puts the opponents to sleep, that they will remain that way, since any damage you deal will break it, and it will keep all of the units except for the tank asleep for the duration, granting you a huge advantage. And lastly, as a filler unit on your defense team. Even if you haven't thought the perfect place for Lian, or the perfect filler unit for your team, just having Lian on the team can really make your opponents second guess their attack choices because she throws such a wrench in their plans. Now we'll take a look at when you should be avoiding Lian in your team. First up is if the enemy team has Corvus in it. Since Lian's second and third skills both attack 5 times each, and the second skill has the potential to hit multiple targets for 5 times each, his altar will basically kill her in one hit. The next time to consider is if your team deals almost exclusively area of effect damage, because her charm effects will not be applied for very long, meaning it's good to avoid heroes like Kira, Orion, Jorgen, Lars, Krista, Dante, Faceless, Helios, Heidi, Maya, Galahad, Artemis, Ginger, etc. Now we'll briefly discuss her roles in the team as they were just mentioned in the previous section. Lian's main role is support and control, so you'll want to ensure she is a filler unit that you're adding to your team when you're trying to find someone to fill that last slot. Keeping her strengths in mind mentioned above and the types of units she excels with, in some instances she can act as a supplemental damage dealer for your team, and she can even stall out numerous teams if you give her one or more healer. Many units find it difficult to get through Lian because of constantly being incapacitated. In this segment we'll be discussing her skins, which are all available for purchase using skin scrolls at the store. The top priority skin is her Solar skin, which offers 10,650 armor and yields the largest boost to her mitigation and survivability, which is very big for her because it will make her less likely to be targeted by heroes like Yasmin, and if your front line gets taken out, it will ensure she's got a much greater chance to survive as the last line of defense next to your healers. The second in priority is her default skin, which offers 1,365 magic defense, 1,365 physical attack, and 4,095 magic attack, and is the next biggest for her survivability due to the magic defense and critical hit resistance that she gains. The third in priority, but certainly not a low priority skin compared to other heroes, is her romantic skin, which offers 10,650 magic attack, which is a great bonus to her damage potential as well as possible survivability if partnered with Dorian. Next we'll discuss artifact priority, which means which artifact is the most important to level up first. The first up is the artifact book, which will grant her 53,394 health, 10,680 magic attack, and this will ensure she's able to stay alive the longest and deal additional damage. Since her primary role is support, you want her to be able to take the most punishment before going down. Second up is her ring, which grants her 3,990 physical attack, 3,990 magic defense, and 11,970 magic attack, which offers her a sizable boost to her damage as well as offering her critical hit resistance and enabling her to survive longer. Since her primary role is support, you'll want her alive as long as possible. The last in priority is her artifact weapon, Idol of Charm. This grants her and her team up to 32,040 magic attack for 9 seconds. Since her ultimate skill does not actually deal any damage, she doesn't get as big of a benefit from this as other heroes might. But you could consider moving this up to second in priority depending on how how magic heavy the allies you have her partnered with are. In our final segment, we will be discussing glyph stat priority. So what this means is of all the stats your hero can get, which ones are the most important for you to upgrade first to yield the best results. First glyph is health. It gives 30,800 and offers the most to her overall survivability from both physical and magic attacks. The second glyph is magic defense, which offers 3,360 magic defense, and helps her ward off magic attacks as effectively as possible, which likely will be the most common damage type that she suffers. The third glyph to choose is her armor, which offers 3,360 armor, and will help ward off tanks and other support units who manage to get through the front line to Lian, as well as execute skills from Anvari, Nebula, and Galahad. The fourth glyph in priority is intelligence, which gives 560 physical attack, 560 magic defense, and 1,680 magic attack, which helps her reach her maximum effectiveness at warding off attacks as well as offers additional damage output. And the fifth glyph to choose is her magic attack, which adds 3,360 magic attack. There's not much to say beyond that. All of her damage abilities will benefit immensely from this, and if she's paired with Dorian, she can use this to keep herself alive even longer. Okay everybody, hopefully you found this video informative. If you do, please like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Another thing to consider is recommending my content to your friends as well if you know they yearn for knowledge of the game. Since these videos are private, word of mouth is how they will get spread. Also, for a large and active Hero Wars mobile community, join my Facebook group called Hero Wars Mobile Community, The GOAT. The link will be in the video's description. Thanks for watching.